All right, y'all, it's finally time. We're gonna put a 3-inch body lift on my truck because here pretty soon I'm about to need a little bit more clearance. In this video, we're gonna show y'all how to do that. I went with the rough country lift because I mean I've already got the rough country 6-inch suspension, so figured I'd keep it in the family. Also, what I like about this lift is it comes with the rear bumper lift brackets, which most kits don't. But this is everything it comes with. You got all your pucks, couple little weird things, bumper brackets, and 2 giant bags of bolts. If y'all remember from when I installed the body lift on my buddy's Xterra, there's a bunch of things you got to take off. On this one, right here, you have to take off this bolt that holds this wiring harness on, give it a little more slack. And there's another bolt that holds on these brake lines, and I think there's a couple little clips, but you have to pop all that off so it has room to move when you jack it up. We're taking off the bumper. It also says that you have to take off your skid plate up there. You have to take off your upper fan shroud, and it says your lower fan shroud. We have to disconnect the steering shaft. And just come through here and make sure you have slack in all your wires, because I have a lot of lights and stuff. So I'll make sure I got plenty of slack in these, and need to have somebody watching everything pretty much whenever you're lifting everything up. Also back here, we're gonna take off the rear bumper, take off the towing package under there so we could get part of the bolt or a couple of the bolts off for the bumper. And if y'all remember, I have rock lights. And my splice point is right here because the wires are too short. So I'm gonna undo that, run all my wires back, just let them hang, and I'm gonna let them hang over there under the engine bay. That way we don't get any wires being pulled or nothing like that. I don't think the instructions said this, but when he did his, he had to do this. Up under here, you have this shift cable. Yeah, transmission shift cable. It's on a bracket up under the seat, and you have to pop the bracket off so that you can so that it has slack to move whenever you lift it up. And also, we're gonna take off the tow hook. The instructions say you're supposed to take the fan off, but I don't really see why, so we're not gonna do that. Now, when he did his body lift, he said he didn't have to take this off like the instructions say. So we're gonna try not to take mine off either. Oh, and your emergency brake cable disconnects, and I'm pretty sure it disconnects right here. So that should be the last thing we have to take off, and then we're gonna go ahead and jack the bed up, get that done because that's gonna be easy, and then we're gonna go into doing the cab and the front end. So we'll come back at you whenever we start jacking up the bed. So this bolt was already taken out, so that was good, but that bolt wasn't. So when we jacked up the other side, it caved this whole part in right here. So all I did was I took that bolt out, and that bolt wasn't doing anything there, so I zip tied it for now. I'm gonna put a bolt through it later, but zip tied it for now, and that's not going nowhere, and that's not trying to cave in, so take those bolts out. Don't leave those. So what you wanna do is loosen all 4 bolts on one side, and then take all 4 off on the other side. Lift this side up, put the pucks in, slide the bolts in, and then take the other side out, lift it up, put the pucks in, put the bolts in, and then tighten everything down. It's pretty simple, unless you have a 4-push jack, and then you can do it all at once. And you're using these smaller ones for the rear. The bigger ones are for the cab. I was just editing the video, and I realized I completely forgot to say where all the body bolts are. But this is fine because it'll be a little bit easier to show you now. So in the back, there's one right here, right in front of the fender well, one right behind the fender well, and one at the very back of the frame. And there's also one that you can barely see right there at the very front of the cab. It's like sits right about here. So yeah, there's 4 on each side of the bed in the same spot. Like I said, this whole side is loosened up. Bolts are almost all the way out. And we went ahead and took these bolts out and jacked it up. with a 2x4 or a 4x4 on top of the jack, lifting up the center of the bed in there. And jacked it up, set the blocks in, set it down, and snug the bolts up. So now we're gonna go over to the other side and do the exact same thing. And over here in the front, we have the front fan shroud taken out, top and bottom. And the bottom one over here is trimmed. Yep. With this, before I actually said you were supposed to take that side out, but that was wrong. You're supposed to take this side out. There's a bolt. It was right there. And you just take that off and pop it out. We have it taken off. We just have to slide that out. We just unhooked this part of the brake cable. All it is just this little clamp, and you just pull one of them out and out of that. And then you also have to pop this piece. Was popped in the frame right there. See, it's got these little tabs on it. Phone will not focus today. It's got these little tabs on it. You just pop it out, and they say that's all you have to do whenever you're doing the body lift with the parking brake. And there's no way to extend this, as far as I know. But if we find a way, we'll let you know. But as of right now, we're assuming that my truck's not gonna have a parking brake anymore, which is normal. But like I said, the bumper's done. And what's really nice about this rough country lift, the bumper brackets, the rear bumper brackets, raise it up to like factory level. There's no bigger gap in here like any other kits out there or anything like that, so that's pretty nice. Right here, see that bolt hole? Took the bolt out, shaft slides out of there, just that way. So now everything's taken off that they said to take off besides the fan, which we're not going to take that off. And these bolts down here, which I'm about to take off right now. And I don't think there's any on the other side, but I'm going to check. I just never got to mow grass in the middle of the video. So yeah, cab's about to come up. All right, got the body lift completely on. Again, forgot to mention where the body mount bolts are for the front. There's one right here, right in front of your front bumper side brackets. There's another one right here, right behind your fender well. Another one is right there, right behind your torsion bar cross member, and one at the very back of the cab. Again, 4 on each side of the cab on both sides. They're in the same spot. Also, we did the front the exact same way as we did the back. Took the bolts out of one side and loosened them on the other. Jacked this side up, put the pucks in, started the bolts, and then went over to the other side, took the bolts out, jacked it up, put the pucks in, and started the bolts. Everything is tightened down all the way down the truck, so now we're just putting everything back together. In the back, we still have to put the towing package back on. I keep forgetting about that. And up here, we got the bumper, touching up some stuff up there. And as far as we know, that should be it. The fan shroud we had to change a little bit since what we showed you. We just cut up a little farther where it comes out, because it was like way down here.
And so we did it like 6 inches, but we did it like double that.
Yeah. So we cut that a little bit more so it would clear the fan. So now we're about to start putting everything back together. So he's finishing that up, and I just figured out a way to keep your parking brake cable, so do not cut it. He's about to do his if he can figure it out. So parking brake cable originally ran under here through this hole and then down. Just run it back and run it above that and hook it back up, and everything works. So now I still have a parking brake. Now I'm about to put the steering shaft back on, and I'm gonna leave all of these off because, as you can tell, if I pry them back to put them on all this stuff, they're just gonna be stretched. So I'm gonna leave them, and should be wrapping it up here pretty soon. All right, interior's put all back together. Fan shroud is on. Skid plate is back on. And the extension for the steering shaft is on. So now all we have left is tow hooks, putting the lift brackets on the bumper, putting that on, and putting the receiver hitch back on. And that. Everything is completely done. Got the towing package on, got the front bumper on. I'm gonna roll all those up for right now. I don't feel like doing that. Those little square tabs or square plates for the outside front bumper brackets, and make sure you don't lose those little V things, because you'll be looking around wondering where you're missing 6 bolts at, and it's just because of that. Oh, and also with these tow hooks, if you put them back where they came from, where they were, they'd sit right about here. But if you flip them upside down, put this plate on the bottom side and put your screws in through the top, and put this tow hook over there and that tow hook over here, so they still hook the same way, then it kind of angles them up a little bit and looks a little bit better. I don't know if you could clear a valence by doing that, but I'm gonna get a valence pretty soon, so I'm gonna try. But yeah, other than that, that's your body lift. And I probably missed a bunch of stuff making this video, a bunch of things I forgot to touch up on. So if you're doing it and I didn't mention something, put it in the comments and I'll try to answer it. Park and brake thing didn't work, so forget what I said about that.